All right, so this is pretty interesting to me, and I'm prepping. I'm not going to spend a lot of time setting this up because I know you and I are going to have a lot to say about this.
Yes.
But Shawn Porter had a very interesting take. I guess he was asked about whose career he'd rather have, Floyd Mayweather Jr. or Manny Pacquiao. I mean, I would say by pretty much everybody's standards, these two gentlemen are the two biggest stars in the sport over the last 30 years. I don't think you'll get many people that will argue that. I think that's
Right.
pretty much what it is. But Shawn Porter had a really interesting take on this. He says, asked, whose career would he rather have between the two? He says, I'm actually going to go with Manny. I think that even though Manny has taken a lot of punishment, he's been in a lot of wars, he's been in a lot of exciting fights. You know me, I like the war, I like the battle, and I like the excitement. So for those reasons, I would pick Manny. And then on top of that, if you look around the world, more people appreciate Manny. More people respect and adore Manny than dislike him, like Floyd, or than Floyd. I think it meant like Floyd. And the second part of his quote says, even me as the boxer, because just like when I get in the ring and I get people up on their feet, that's what Manny Pacquiao did. And Floyd's been able to do it too, but not as much. I don't think the excitement, it was a different level to the excitement. They're two different fighters. But again, at the end of the day, when Manny Pacquiao goes out and he walks up and down the street, more people are willing to shake his hand and say hi to him than make a mean mug or want to confront him or anything like that.
Right.
Which I think a lot of people nowadays don't appreciate Floyd Mayweather for everything that he's done for the sport, because it's been overshadowed by some of the things that he's done outside of the sport. So that's a lot there. I'll tell you one thing. We're going to talk about this in championship rounds. Actually, you know what?
And I have a little.
I'm going to save my whole concept. Yes.
Well, yeah, because
I got some stuff to say.
I have some stuff to say too.
Yes, definitely. So I think it'll be a very interesting conversation. But the table is set.
So we can agree to disagree. I agree with Shawn Porter. If you asked me, would I rather have had Manny Pacquiao's career or Floyd Mayweather's career, I would choose Manny Pacquiao. And the interesting thing, and I'm paraphrasing here, because Steve Kim tweeted about it saying, paraphrasing once again, that he found it to be very refreshing that Shawn would, publicly say this and his position on that. So then Leonard Ellerby responded to Steve's tweet, paraphrasing once again because I don't remember the tweet word for word, but it was basically saying, well, I'd pick the guy that went undefeated with an unblemished record and retired with all his faculties. So my whole thing is this. Is Leonard insinuating that Manny doesn't have all of his faculties? Number one, because that wasn't part of the conversation. Number two, just based on your GOAT reference about Amanda Nunes and having 4 losses, who says that you can't lose and be the GOAT? Muhammad Ali, how many losses did he have?
What was it, 5?
Okay.
4 or 5.
But isn't he still arguably the GOAT?
Arguably the GOAT.
Okay. So look, the good news is we can all agree to disagree and have our opinions. My whole thing is this. When you look at the overall body of work, Manny Pacquiao did something that no other fighter probably will ever do, and Floyd never did and never will do, which is he won world championships in 8 different weight divisions. He is far more humanitarian than Floyd Mayweather Jr. is, unless there's something we don't know, right? We know what Manny has done. He's a senator, probably is going to be president of his country. Remember, the comment from Shawn was about career. Whose career would you? I think Manny took more risks. And I think that, taking those risks along the way, they weren't as carefully navigated to avoid certain potential losses. I think he took risks, which put him in a position to achieve greatness with 8 different weight classes. In addition, it also put him at risk to lose. He's maintained himself as a gentleman. He, lost to Floyd. He lost to Floyd. It's still my opinion that fight takes place 5 years earlier. It could be a different story. Could be. Doesn't mean it would have been. Floyd might have beat him 5 years early, but I think it dragged on. So, look, I'm going to keep it short. I agree with Shawn. I mean, I can understand why someone would say, oh, no, that it was Shawn's opinion. I agree with Shawn. If you say to me, whose career would I have rather have, I would pick Manny, just the overall complete body of work. Losses included, the entire journey, what he's also done for the sport as an ambassador worldwide. So that's, and just what I think he stands for. So that's my take on it. I know you probably disagree, and look, it's perfectly cool. I would love to hear your reasons why.
Well, here's the thing. What I think is being mixed up in this whole conversation is, it sounds to me like you and Shawn are kind of more describing the person that you like the most rather than the career that you'd rather have. And I totally understand that, because put it like this, I love Shawn. Shawn's one of my favorite fighters. Just a lot of it has to do with the way he carries himself. He's such a gentleman. The most misbehaved moment that I've ever seen Shawn Porter have was when the decision was read when he lost to Kell Brook. It was a really close decision, and you could tell it just hurt him to his soul that he lost that fight. And there was nothing inappropriate about the moment, but that's about as bad as he gets in front of a camera for Shawn Porter.
It's a very nice guy.
So this is just who this, how this guy is. So I love Shawn Porter, right? I love Manny Pacquiao. He is literally, him, Andre Ward. These are like, beyond the skill level, just in terms of just people that in combat sports that I just really dig their personality, their vibe, the way they carry. I love these guys. But that doesn't mean that from a career standpoint, I would rather have a guy's career who has taken L's, who has taken knockout losses, compared to a guy who has never been defeated, never been knocked out, very rarely been hit hard. And so, because I'm looking at this from a human standpoint, and I look at it like this: if Floyd Mayweather and Manny Pacquiao were, if I had to say, I got a son that's going through boxing, which career would I rather have had my son experience? And there is no way in the world I would want my son to get punched in the face the way Manny Pacquiao got punched in the face by Juan Manuel Marquez. There's no way in the world I would want to see my son take the knockout loss to Eric Morales the way he took. There's no way in the world I want to see my son take the knockout loss that Manny took to Boonsai Sangsarat way back in 1999, which a lot of people don't realize that he was knocked out there. He was also knocked out in 96 by Rustico Torrecampo. So we're talking about KO losses. And when Manny, because of the way Manny fights, when Manny gets knocked out, there ain't no question. I mean,
he's susceptible jumping in there.
He get knocked all the way out, right? It ain't no question. So
all the way out.
All the way out.
Like night.
Both eyes closed,
good night
type thing,
Right. So, like snoring.
Right. So what I'm saying is, there is no way in the world I can say that I would rather be that than a guy who has never lost. And I don't know what their bank accounts are set up like. I don't. I know it appears that Floyd has taken in more money. Now, how he has managed it is a totally different story. Now, I think I would rather be Manny Pacquiao from a bank account standpoint, because I think even though Floyd may have made a little bit more money, it appears to me Manny probably got more of his left.
You know what?
You never know.
Yeah, but to your point, Brian, and listen, there's no right or wrong answer to this.
Yeah,
this is purely depending on who you are and what you value.
Yeah, I mean, but honestly, I really think there is nobody in the world faced with the situation. If you say, all right, go out here, this guy's going to knock you out unconscious tonight. Okay.
Okay.
So, or you can be this guy here who's not going to get hit. Which one do you want to be?
But that's okay.
Nobody's going to say it. I want Juan Marquez.
But that's just one. That's just one criteria of measuring the career.
That right there is the line.
Well, for you,
but I suggest that it's the line for everybody. But
you're just that's in that situation. I'm part of the world. It's not for me.
But when you're
not everybody.
In that situation, you can say that now. But if you're faced with the situation, which is what Shawn is talking about, and they're saying, look, you're going to get knocked out. Who's going to choose that at the point when you're saying, here's the punch, it's coming?
Fighters fight to achieve greatness. I'm just saying fighters fight to. This is part of the sport. Now, listen, what I'm going to say is I don't know where it became unacceptable along the way to lose a fight.
It's not even about that.
But what's it about? You're talking about one criteria about suffering KO losses.
Right. Not suffering KO losses because of how humiliating it could be. Suffering KO losses, like who wants to get punched in the face and get knocked out? Just from a pure human standpoint.
But what does this have to do with whose career you would rather? But I'm just saying, like,
part of his career and not part of Floyd's. That's why. That's an easy comparison.
But that's just see. But in this sport,
that is one of the major differences here. One of the major differences is one guy's been knocked out 3 times. Do you want to get knocked out?
But that's not what Shawn's basing his response on. I mean, and this is a lot
of what he's basing his response on is stuff that's really doesn't have anything to do. Like he's saying Floyd stuff he's done outside the ring,
but that's part of your career.
I mean,
listen, you gotta take a little step back.
You gotta be careful when you start doing that stuff.
Why?
Even if you're as neat and clean as Shawn has been. Even when you're as neat and clean as, there's a big, huge gap between who Shawn Porter is and who Floyd has demonstrated himself to be. We both see that. We both know that. But you do understand. Be careful when you start bringing up stuff about what people have done, and you're using that as a way to put one person above another person. You got to be careful with that because your life ain't over yet.
Yeah, but Brian, I'm just saying that you have to look at. We've seen in other sports, whether it's been football, basketball, guys have been fantastic on the field and on the court, and they've had some issues outside of the sport, which tarnishes the whole career. We've seen it happen to doctors and lawyers and entertainers.
You say the same thing about Manny. Manny had this whole thing. We almost lost his marriage because he was cheating on his wife so much and all that. Right. So now we quantifying sins.
No, listen, who's talking about sins?
We're
talking about career. No. What I'm saying is this. But see, it's the overall career. Right. Do you believe in redemption too?
Absolutely.
Okay, so it's all of it. So what I'm saying is I don't think there's a right answer. I don't think anyone's right or anyone's wrong.
I think that.
But you're telling me you're trying to pin this all on KO losses.
No, I'm not trying to pin it all on. I'm saying that is a major part, and I'm saying that I'm thinking that it sounds as though
for
you're blowing that off. And
I'm not blowing it off. It's one component of a career.
It doesn't matter because the punch's not coming at you right now.
It's one component of an entire body of work.
It's a very big component.
Listen, let me ask you something. Dan Marino never won a Super Bowl. Does it not make him is he still one of the greatest quarterbacks and had a great career in football?
He had a great career.
I'm just saying,
not one of the greatest though, and it's because he didn't win a Super Bowl.
Based on, remember, it takes a team to win a Super Bowl.
It absolutely takes a team to win a Super Bowl.
Remember something, Brian. Remember something, Brian.
Somebody that's 6.
Remember something, Brian. Are you ready?
Yes.
Organizations win championships.
Yes, Jerry said that, and that was just as ridiculous now as it was when he said it.
But no, look, it's listen. The great thing about our championship rounds is that we're going to have guys in the chat right now that feel one way or another.
Yes.
So I'm curious to see where our Sean Singletaries and our BKs and who am I missing?
Ness Mendoza, Think Cap.
Yeah.
All our guys in there.
Even the new folks that are in there today want to know.
Even our lurkers who never say anything but watch.
Right.
Every show has them. Every show has them. Yeah, it's just, for me, man, it's just that's a big thing. That's a big thing, taking punishment. Right. And you said something about Leonard Ellerbe. Who says that Manny Pacquiao doesn't have all his faculties?
No, I'm just saying that was brought into the thing. I don't know where that
because that's part of his career. It is. How is that not part of his career? If he incurred this damage during his career, and we're talking about how Manny can walk down the street and people can shake his hand and people will like him and all this kind of stuff. This is what Shawn's saying.
But what I'm saying is, what about listen, I get it. Remember, it's all encompassing. You know what I'm saying? That's from his point of view.
So how is what Leonard saying not all encompassing?
But I don't understand because he was using it as if to say, and has all of his faculties.
And has all his faculties. Meaning you didn't get knocked unconscious 3 times.
Manny has all his faculties too.
How do we know that?
How do I know? Because I know he's been tested.
So you think
he's been extensively tested, and he's still completely functional, operating and reading.
Okay, but he's not in the latter stages of his life yet. And I'm not putting or wishing anything on anybody, but I'm saying, do you think the same reason that you said, hey, I don't want to see Mike Tyson take punches in the head as a 53?
Floyd had one heck of a chin, Brian.
I understand that, but
he took some hard shots.
Nobody in the world who would say that Floyd has taken as much punishment in the ring as Manny.
I don't know.
Come on, man.
I don't know. I mean, how could you make that? What are we going to do? Like match up CAT scans?
Are you kidding me? I said, no. I said as much damage in the ring.
I don't know. That's neither of us know that.
Have you ever seen Floyd lay down on his face sleep?
You listen, can I tell you something?
With his shorts fluttering.
Can I tell you something? Listen to me. And this is for real. Okay?
I'm for real.
Sometimes, and I mean this is not a joke, it's not an excuse. Sometimes it's better to suffer the short-term KO loss than take that constant punishment over 10 or 12 rounds. So what I'm saying is you can't judge
constant punishment over 10
what I'm saying is you can, listen, Floyd's also had one heck of a chin. He might have
you seen his chin tested like that?
I've seen his chin tested.
We've seen his chin tested. Shot, boom, Shane Mosley. One shot, chop Corley.
Listen,
one shot, Maidana.
Listen, there's everything that's into account with guys getting tested and guys potentially incurring damage, whether it's in sparring, whether it's in the fights themselves. Remember, the man still had 50 professional fights. And every single one of those fights, listen, Floyd's had an extensive career. Yes. I mean, from the amateurs all the way up. I mean, fantastic.
Manny has had 71 fights.
We're not talking about whether Floyd's boxing career was good or not. We already know.
And nobody's saying that. I'm not making that argument at all.
But you keep going back to getting knocked out. I think someone's going to agree with me.
Talking about career, and that's an important thing.
It's one component.
Because at the end of the day with boxers, one of the main things is when you leave this game, how much do you still have when you're done? That's why this is so important.
So
that's why you have to put so much weight on.
I have an idea. For our next show, I have an idea. So you know how we did our build your perfect fighter? Why don't we do build your perfect career and put criteria that would determine how a fighter leaves with the better career? Seriously. And you can have KO losses as one criteria.
That doesn't even it's not.
Does that make you happy? It could be the top of your list.
It doesn't say, it's not even a segment. It's 50-0 with 50 knockouts and I never got punched.
You just said 50 knockouts.
That's 50-0 with 50 knockouts and I never got punched. That's the perfect career.
Okay.
I knocked out everybody in 5 seconds.
All right.
Ben Askren. That's the perfect career. If you ask me as a fighter, if I was a fighter, what would I want?
Yeah.
I don't need that. I mean, there is something to value, obviously, from being in a war.
Everybody has their own ideas.
You can see the exchange. But like I said, if you ask these people, which one would they rather their son have? Because then you would shave off all the macho. Then you shave off all of that. You shave off all of the testosterone. And now we start talking about something that you care about.
Well, look,
and that you
I have 3 boys.
Protect.
I have 3 boys.
And I don't think that anybody would say, if I had to choose how my son's career was going to go, I prefer him get knocked out 3 times rather than be 50 and 0 and not get knocked out.
I have 3 boys.
So you would rather have your sons?
If you ask me, whose career?
Right. I didn't say whose lifestyle. I said career.
Career. I understand.
Yes.
I would still choose Manny Pacquiao.
Okay.
Even with some of the imperfections, I'd choose Manny Pacquiao. And you know what? That's just my opinion.
Yeah, it is.
I know you choose Floyd.
I would absolutely choose Floyd, but I would say I would like you to carry yourself more like Manny after 30. But as far as what you do in your boxing career, absolutely Floyd, because you didn't take that much punishment, you never lost, and that's great. And that's what a career is. All this other stuff,
but
walking down the street and shaking fans and all this kind of stuff.
It's all part of it. It's how people.
Well, then so too is the damage you take afterwards. That's part of it too.
Every aspect of a person's career is looked into.
It is.
You know what I'm saying? Even the things that happen outside the ring, for good or for bad.
Okay.
And no one's perfect.
Nope, nobody's perfect. So I don't know why we're talking about what Shawn was talking about, overshadowing stuff.
It was a good comment. I mean, it was an interesting take.
It definitely
it was interesting. I found it to be not just because I agree with him, but just because
it was refreshing. The honesty
from a fighter's perspective, and it doesn't mean that he doesn't respect Floyd or think that Floyd. It just means that I think that Shawn would love to be looked at maybe the way people look at Manny. That's all.
That's
his perception.
I understand that. Manny's an awesome dude and an absolute hero. Floyd's not.
No, but listen, once again, there's private Floyd and public Floyd. Floyd was an unbelievable fighter who was a great self-promoter and a great brander and a great marketer. I mean, there's so many undeniable things. Like I said, we're not talking about the greatness of either of them.
No,
you know what I mean? So, I mean, look, it becomes personal. I guess it just becomes how we all see ourselves too, right? Yeah. And when, like you said, what we value more in the equation.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I prefer not to get knocked out, but but that's just me. I don't.
And I prefer not to take a 12-round beating. And now you're going to say, well, when did he take a 12-round beating? I'm just saying
he never did. So
saying.
So it's completely irrelevant.
There are guys that had great chins.
But we talking about Floyd.
Listen.
But we talking about Floyd.
Like I said, if Floyd could do what Jordan just did with The Last Dance 25 years from now or 20 years from now, I think we'll have a really cool perspective, which could be a different perspective, but we can go on and on and on.
Yeah, it'd be awesome. Not 25, only 15.
Yeah, 15. Okay. Yeah. Still, that'd be awesome.